1 in 59 children are diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder, and every child responds differently in stressful situations. Well, we welcome back Dr. Jen Arnold and also Dr. Lauren Gardner to join the show to talk about and discuss a new program at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital that better prepares law enforcement for these situations. Welcome back. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us today.
Well, and welcome to the show, Dr. Gardner. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. And the more I'm talking with you, I mean, this program is something that actually came to be in a way because of a law, as you were explaining, that was signed. And unfortunately, someone lost their life in a situation like this. And I think anytime you're dealing with law enforcement, it can be intimidating, let alone a child with sensory issues. Explain how this all came to be at your level and why you wanted to be involved.
Well, you know, when I came on to Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, I met with Dr. Gardner early on, and she told me about the work that she was doing to help raise awareness for law enforcement officers and how to train them. And she and I discussed an idea that she had to make it more immersive, to not just give a lecture where law enforcement officers have an opportunity to learn how to handle encounters when they encounter a young adult or a child with autism, but also how to actually give them the opportunity to practice and get feedback so that they really can feel confident in those skills when they're in those situations in real life, and to hopefully improve and de-escalate those situations. I thought it was a great idea. I said, absolutely, we can use simulation, and we can train actors to be able to play those roles so that the law enforcement officers get an opportunity to get that feedback, and they get to be debriefed by experts like Dr. Gardner and her team.
And again, you were saying how already you've heard back from law enforcement agents and their feedback and learning about this. And I know, Jen, you're passionate too about being able to train people with these simulations. And in the meantime, I want to get your thoughts too, Dr. Gardner. Why was this important for you? Take the work that you've done up to this point. Why did you see this was such a need?
It's a huge need because of the fact that we know at this point 1 in 59 8-year-olds are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. And from the epidemic of diagnosing that occurred in the 90s, those individuals are now becoming adults, and they're a vulnerable population. They're much more likely to be victims of crime than perpetrators of crime. And so it's really important for the law enforcement officers who will be engaging with them in crisis situations to be able to recognize the signs and symptoms of autism and then adapt the way that they're interacting with those individuals so that it's successful for both the officers and the individuals with autism. So we know that there's just a huge need within the community as a whole to make sure that we're raising awareness of autism. And this was a great opportunity to continue to do that.
And I'm not surprised, but you say the law enforcement folks that you've been able to work with, they're thankful for this training, right?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of them know individuals with autism or have children themselves with autism. And so this training program is a really awesome opportunity for us to increase their knowledge and awareness of autism for people who aren't aware, but then also increase awareness for their colleagues so that they better understand their family situations at home. And then through the simulation portion, they really get that hands-on training and they get to implement the learning that they've done in the morning. And that's really through the generous funding from Cigna Foundation that allows us to implement these programs and have this great training opportunity.
Are you able to give us an example of something that you work with law enforcement, that maybe if a law enforcement person is watching or someone in the family and they can't make it, but they just kind of want to have a little takeaway? Do you have one of those little tips or anything to share?
A takeaway tip? Oh goodness, yeah. I mean, I think there's something that I've learned from Dr. Gardner in the training is having a tool that helps you to show a visual aid when you encounter a child or a young adult who you think may be acting irrationally and you're trying to figure out whether or not they may have autism, is to show them that, and they can point and sort of de-escalate and start to communicate better. I think it's important too to start asking questions and to really look for those signs and symptoms that they have gotten taught in the morning. You know, does this appear like a child who may have autism spectrum disorder as opposed to a child who may be unsafe for some reason?
And we do have the visual communication board for people who have impairments in verbal abilities, the ability to speak. It's available on our Johns Hopkins All Children's website for the police training, and it's there in PDF form so people can use it, they can print it and have it with them if they need that as a tool.
You know, and just listening to the both of you talk, well, and I can tell how passionate you are, and it's so great to hear. As a citizen of this community, it's so great to hear, but just being able to educate, I mean, education never hurt anybody. So the fact that you're doing this, you're helping the community, we love it. Is there anywhere people can go for more information so that they can learn about this program and possibly get involved?
Absolutely.
On the Johns Hopkins All Children's website, we do have an autism program website that includes a link to the police training, and you can go there and sign up. We have trainings all the way through 2020 set up.
Oh, wow.
So if people are interested, it's a free training again. So go and sign up.
It's a
Yeah.
win-win. Good for you. Thank you so much for sharing this with us today.
Thank
Keep
you
up
for
the good
having
work.
us.
Thank you.